What's going on, partners? We're going to continue talking about the holistic reform that Gavin Newsom is implementing in our state prisons called the California model. In this video, we're going to compare some differences between the country of Norway and the state of California and try to identify some reasons why a cookie-cutter method from Norway's prison system is not going to work in the complex, cartel-infested California prison system. Let's begin by simply examining the population of the country of Norway, which is 5.52 million people. That's not a very big country. Compare that to the state of California with 38.97 million people in the state of California. Now, that's a huge difference. There's a difference of 30 million people. I would also like to bring your attention to the finances, because a correctional system is typically the largest expense that a government has to pay for. The country of Norway has a debt of $224.4 billion. In California, the state debt is $1.6 trillion. And in 2022, California had a debt ratio of 106, meaning that the state owes more than it takes in. Now, let's narrow it down to the topic at hand, which is the prison system. Norway has a prison populations are only 3,052 inmates in the whole country of Norway. In California, we have 94,000 inmates. That difference alone is already a problem when you're trying to implement services that a government is offering to a very small amount of people, especially when they don't have a very big debt and they can afford that, right? Now, you would think that this is it. Now, I have bad news for you. This is not the ending number, because California operates prisons and jails. Unlike Norway that only operates prisons, the jail population isn't counted in this number here. 94,000 is misleading because California has a jail population of over 54,000. So combining both numbers, we're looking at approximately 150,000 incarcerated individuals in the state of California. Moving on, California also has a gang problem. It is estimated that there's over 6,000 different gangs in the state of California with membership that exceed 300,000. Now, according to the Global Initiative Against Transitional Organized Crime, Norway doesn't really have any mafia or cartels. The only gang problems that Norway has are two motorcycle clubs, the Bandidos and the Hells Angels. The irony is that both of these gangs originated in the United States. The Bandidos were founded in Texas, and the Hells Angels are out of California. Let's find out what's going on between both these motorcycle gangs in Norway.
In the 1990s, death and destruction wreaked havoc throughout the states of Scandinavia as rival bikers fought it out. This was the Great Nordic Bike War, a struggle that reshaped Nordic gang culture. The Great Nordic Biker War, also known as the Great Northern Biker War and the Great Scandinavian Biker War, was a violent gang war that broke out in 1994 and lasted until 1997. It was primarily fought between the Hells Angels MC and the Bandidos MC, but many other prospects and support clubs also took part. In 1980, on December 30th, the original United MC in Scandinavia became the first official Hells Angels HA chapter in the region. Longtime adversaries, Filthy Few, were hesitant to embrace the new chapter on any front. They got together with a few other anti-Hells Angels MC groups in Copenhagen to form Bullshit MC. They moved to Christiania, where they made money in the cannabis trade, and in September of 1983, they stopped by a popular Hells Angels watering hole. A carnage that lasted for another 2 years and 4 months was sparked by this visit. 8 Bullshit members, including 3 presidents, 1 member of the Hells Angels, and 2 bystanders were killed in this first Scandinavian MC war. During the conflict, 2 civilians were killed and the Bullshit MC was suspected of being behind it. In 1986, police investigating reports of suspicious activity at the former Bullshit clubhouse discovered a body under the dance floor. While the second war involved multiple countries, the first one was confined to Copenhagen alone and resulted in as many casualties, if not more, than the subsequent war. When both the Morticians and the Hells Angels evolved from bike enthusiasts into criminal organizations in 1992, they became bitter enemies. After joining forces with the Bandidos, who had only one European chapter at the time, located in Marseille, France, The Morticians changed their name to Undertakers MC. Bandidos MC Denmark was formed when the Undertakers combined with another MC in 1993. In 1994, the Hells Angels made an effort to stifle the expansion of the Morbids MC, a rival biker club in Sweden. When their Prospect Club needed support, the Morbids allied with the Bandidos. In Norway, the Outlaws MC is also affiliated with the Bandidos. The authorities called the ensuing drug trade war between the two largest criminal biker gangs in Scandinavia, the Hells Angels and the Bandidos, a deadly game to determine who's the fiercest. Drugs were smuggled into Scandinavia via many of the country's port cities, most notably Copenhagen, from Spain and the Netherlands.
That should be enough for you to understand that Norway has a very small gang problem, a very small criminal element in their country. Despite that, they can't even handle two little motorcycle clubs, but we're going to use their model to fix our prison system? How does that make any sense? This has been going on in Norway since the 90s and they're still dealing with it. That tells me that they don't have the resources, they don't have the intelligence, they don't have the ability. How are we going to bring their holistic ideologies into our prison system to try to reform prison cartels? It is not going to work. Instead of bringing a cookie cutter method from other countries, let's really analyze our history, our culture, and what's going on within our prison systems. Let's attack the problem from where it's happening. Let's use a little bit common sense. Now, guys, if you guys noticed, I'm not doing anything crazy here. I'm using simple Google searches. We just got to use a little bit of common sense, something that our leadership, our government has demonstrated they lack. They refuse to admit their mistakes. They refuse to admit that there is a problem, and they dismiss all evidence of the injustices that are happening inside our detention system. Lastly, I just want to share some common sense with you. I want to play a video from this superstar who decided to take time out of his personal life and go speak in front of LA County's Probation Oversight Commission. Listen to what he had to say.
So this item is about a BSCC, but just here, just for the past 15 minutes of conversation, it feels like I start to doubt the authority of this board, this commission. It seems like for the past, I think one of the Commissioner Emeritus talked about, for the past 20 years has been problems. And then for the last meeting, including this meeting, I have heard numerous times on numerous commissioners, like, we want this report, we didn't have any. I want to ask you this question, and then, well, we don't know anything, we don't have an answer. It seems like this board, this commission is just for show, just put it out there to show the public, oh, okay, we have an oversight. But in reality, every question they ask, we don't know the answer. Every report they requested, we never received. So I just want to know, I feel this board is too much of a bureaucracy than action. And then this one, it feels like it makes me draw the comparison. I actually did a research paper on the Los Angeles County Sheriff Department when the Sheriff Oversight Commission continued to subpoena Sheriff Villanueva, and then they never comply. I feel the same story is happening in this board. Whatever commission is asking, they never get it. So I doubt the enforcement, I doubt the oversight, I doubt the legitimacy of this commission. I'm seeing all conversation, all discussion, no action. Interesting, Prison Rape Elimination Act. Sounds really good, but it reminds me with another law. I think 2 or 3 years ago, there's a law that if a police officer witnessed misconduct of his or her superior, by law, he is required to report. But right now, in any police department, can anyone give me an example that which officer reported her captain, her chief, her lieutenant for misconduct? So this law, by nature, is a good intention, but I already know it will never work. In the youth facility, I don't know what is look like to like kind of youth facility. Is that like 10 people, 10 youth in one room, or is that like one person per cell? Because I don't know that. So if you have like 10 person per room, I can tell you right now, give it up. You never stop it. You never stop the rip. But if it's like one person per cell, and then second of all, I don't know what is the staff member versus incarcerated youth ratio. So is that, for example, if we have like 100, 200 incarcerated youth per one staff member ratio, and I can tell you right now, you can never stop the rape. I really wish I can make more comments about that, but because of the limited information, I don't see anything right there. So it's really limited knowledge I can do. But what I know is, compared to other country, I came from a country that has more than 4 times of your population, and I also come from a country that has more than 10% of less than 10% of the rape victims. There must be something that you can learn from another country. There must be something you can learn from another culture. Something that you can learn.
Give me some more, brother.
I feel that we are focusing on this Narcan item. You guys are focusing on the last thing in this whole domino effect chain, instead of talking about the beginning of the domino effect. What's the reason why we need Narcan? The reason is because there are so many drug death in the facility. Now, what's the reason there are so many drugs in the facility? It's because the drug are so easily available on the street. I come here on the bus, I don't have a car, and then 1 hour ago, there's somebody selling drugs on the bus. When you have a George Gascon are talking about selling drugs to a high school kids is a book and a release. When you have no punishment about selling drug, making drug, trafficking drug, when you have a system that is promoting the drug to appear on the street, on the facility, that's the reason why drug end up in the facility. That's the reason why you need a Narcan to save people. Now, if we do not attack the roots, which is the drug issue from the beginning, then I will tell you, 1 million, 2 million Narcan will never save your kids, because there are continuously drugs coming into the street, coming into the facility, and then you're going to continue to use Narcan, and Narcan, waste of money, waste of taxpayers' money. So instead of doing this Narcan, if we can work with the sheriff department, the California, the state, the local, federal law enforcement, if we can make sure there's punishment, there's consequence of selling, making, transporting drug on the street, then probably we can eliminate the drug from going into our facility. Therefore, there's no need for Narcan if there's no drug in the facility.
That's right. So he just spoke a bunch of truths to their face. So you think that they listened? Every person sitting in this board should be held accountable for the overdoses and the deaths that have happened inside the LA County probation. Jeff McComber, the Secretary of CDCR, should be held accountable for the 53 murders that occurred this year in CDCR. Lena Penner, Chair of the Board of State and Commissioner Corrections, should be held accountable not only to law enforcement staff, but civilian staff and inmates while her tenure as chair of the BSCC, because she has done absolute nothing but help dismantle our prison system and filled it with bureaucracy. Every single member of this board should be held responsible for the decision makings that they're taking, because none of this is working. It's only putting our staff, the inmates, and our community at risk. With that, partners, that is all I got. Remember to hold the line, and let's hold them responsible.